Good afternoon or good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's session. My name is Pete Ferris. I'm Head of Business Development at RMS Cloud, and I'm delighted to be joined by Carol and Zoltan from Flexkeeping. Good morning or good afternoon to you both.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Very well,
Good morning, Pete. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. And Zoltan, whereabouts in the world are you?
I'm in beautiful Slovenia, consistently
Perfect.
voted the most ecological country in the world.
Wonderful. Excellent. And Carol, you're based in
I am
Victoria.
based in Melbourne, in not so sunny Melbourne today.
Yes, it's a bit miserable outside today.
It is.
Excellent. All right, well, thank you everybody again for joining us. We're delighted to be presenting to you a webinar today talking about Flexkeeping. Flexkeeping is a fantastic partner of RMS Clouds who provide digitisation of hotel operations, predominantly around housekeeping and maintenance. We've got a fantastic presentation to run through with you today. There's 5 core elements that we're going to be talking through. They are how to automate daily housekeeping processes to reduce costs, how to respond to reactive maintenance and implement effective preventative maintenance strategies to protect your assets, effective team communication and collaboration to enhance the guest stay and reviews, how to elevate your brand standards and maintain compliance, and lastly, how and where to save time and money, which is an incredibly important topic, and I know that everyone's going to get fantastic value out of today's session. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Carol, who's going to start the presentation.
Thanks so much, Pete. Always a pleasure to work with RMS. I've known the team there for quite some time, and we're really delighted to be connected to RMS. We can see the synergy between the two systems. So Flexkeeping is all about digitising all of your operations, your housekeeping and your maintenance. So if we can just keep moving on with the slides, please, Zoltan. So we're working all around the world. No matter where you are, we are there for you. And of course, we work with many of the big brands, but our core in many ways is working with individual properties. So we'll work at any level, any size. Now, there are 5 elements with one tool. So your quality assurance, your maintenance and housekeeping, but also your management and the all-important front office. So we can actually tie it all into one. No more messy little tools. We can allow you to become a lot more agile with the way that you communicate with all of your team. No more messages getting missed and things like that. The analytics that we provide, incredible to give you that power to make good decisions. So the communication is so streamlined. Every message, every item that gets put into the system is completely logged. So you're always going to have a complete log of everything that you're going. With housekeeping, just the ability to monitor the housekeeping, keep an eye on what the housekeeping are doing, automating all of the schedules, and making sure that we can then take photos of how things have been presented in the rooms means that your standards are always going to be up there. In the maintenance, we come into our own. So all the maintenance jobs that can be logged around the property, but your ongoing preventative maintenance and making sure that everything is taken care of in a timely fashion and that it's logged and that we're making sure that at any point you can look back at any room and see exactly what's happened in that room over a period of time. The analytics are really going to give you some very, very strong controls. You're talking about the staff performances and efficiencies, but also what you're using around the property, what areas are of most concern in maintenance, for instance. Now, the peace of mind, that quality assurance, we're able to give you an element that allows you to not only run checklists across various areas, we've got digital training inbuilt so that your staff will never feel lost. And we've got lost and found. Of course, enforcing those brand standards is really all about showing the staff the standard that you expect and giving them an achievable goal, which we can do in the app. and the education, making sure that your staff are aware of how to do each job with SOPs and checklists to help them on their way. It just empowers your staff. The lost and found, you know, the all important in every hotel. There's always stuff that's left behind. Everything's tracked, everything's recorded. And then we can even give you analytics to say, look, none of this has been collected over the last 6 months. You can start whooshing it out. So the integration itself, amazing. So Flexkeeping and RMS are talking 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So nothing happens in Flexkeeping without RMS knowing it, and vice versa. So the moment there's any guest movement, RMS tells Flexkeeping. The moment that there's cleanliness, we're telling RMS. And of course, minibar charges, and Zoltan will show you all of that, but it's an amazingly clever integration. And, you know, there's a number of different things that we're going to see. We're going to see some immediate increases in maintenance because everyone can take the maintenance so quickly. And again, Zoltan will show you that in a second. Higher productivity, fewer guest complaints. And of course, less phone calls, less interruptions to the staff that are working. So you'll see a return on this very, very quickly. And of course, peace of mind. Happier staff, you know, staff retention, massive at the moment. So giving them a tool that empowers them, best thing you could do at the moment, and all of the other benefits that come with it. So in the pricing model, it is a setup fee, one-time onboarding fee, and then a monthly subscription. So we'll just sit in behind the number of rooms that you've got, but we also take care of all of your public areas. And the onboarding process is really simple. We'll work through it with you. We hold your hand. There's no one size fits all. So we tailor this for each property. And of course, we can give you many conclusions and opportunities. I won't go right through that, but we are an expense negative. In other words, what we're charging you, we're going to save you 3 times as much. And that's me. I'm available anytime. I'm happy to do demonstrations after this. I mean, obviously, we're going to do a generic demonstration now, but if you've got loads of questions and that are property specific, we can go through that individually. And now over to Zoltan to give you a really good look.
Hi everyone, and thank you, Carol. So I'm going to show you what Flexkeeping looks like, and I'm going to show you some of our key functionalities. So why do usually operators reach out to us? Well, basically, they're fed up. They're fed up with many things, such as using pen and paper for communication, or radios, or WhatsApp messages, spending way too much time informing the team who needs to do what, and then even more time understanding what have been done and to what quality. So Flexkeeping, through a series of automations, tackles all these issues and resolve them. And as a result, you're going to get a bunch of time back that you can save or and can sort of take control and have a really good insight what's happening in your operation. And I guess on top of that, Flexkeeping creates this environment where the team members have all the information needed to do a really good job. So in return, you can expect consistency, quality, and accountability. So I'm going to now show you how these sort of communication workflows work, and I'm going to start with my desktop access to Flexkeeping. It's important to remember that everything I show you now, you will be able to do from your mobile phone as well. And I'm going to show that a little bit later. So let's start with housekeeping. And I know RMS offers some of these functionalities, but I'm just going to quickly show you how easy it is in Flexkeeping to distribute the workload. So done. That's it. That's all it takes to inform the team members which units, rooms, apartments they need to clean, and how, whether it's a checkout clean, whether it's a weekly clean, whether it's a daily clean, and etc. On top, they also already receive the information whether the guest has checked out from that room, whether somebody has is checking into that room. So it's literally 2 clicks. Okay. Now, With Flexkeeping, you can get quite scientific. So not only that you can track how many rooms you're assigning or units you're assigning to each housekeeping team member, but also how many credits, and you can think about credits as minutes. For example, we can see that Kathy here, we've given her 6 units, and it should take her 195 minutes to clean these rooms. So you can get really precise in terms of what sort of workload you're assigning to each team members, making sure that you're keeping them busy, but also that you're allowing them enough time to complete these cleans during their working day. And of course, you then get a bunch of analytics. Who cleaned which room, how long, and etc. There's another thing you can do, and this is again, because of this great integration we have with RMS, is you can sort of look ahead and start planning ahead, anticipating what is coming. So what you see on my screen is all your housekeeping team members here on the left and future dates. So not only that we access your reservations for today, but we can understand what will tomorrow look like in terms of how many rooms you will need to clean and how, or next week or next month. So by looking at that information, you'll be able to start mapping out who you want to be working on which day and how many team members you need on duty. And if you really want to, you can even decide now who will clean which rooms tomorrow or the day after or in a week's time. So multiple sort of use cases for this. First of all, making sure that your team knows in advance where they need to be, which units they need to clean, especially if you're using external contract cleaning, you will be able to inform them well in advance in terms of the number of team members you need on duty. Okay, so we've done sort of the housekeeping bit. So let me show you a couple of other ways of sort of communicating with the team. And again, just another reminder, everything I'm showing you now, you'll be able to do that from your mobile phone as well via the app. So there's no need to be stuck in the office to do all these things. So let's start with some additional tasks. So although we inform the housekeeping team members what they need to do, we will be able to assign additional tasks. So I can just simply add a task and say that I need some extra pillows in 108, and now I have informed the team member. Okay, or I can also create a series of future and recurring tasks. For example, I can select a task called, let's say, deep clean, and I want to deep clean the lobby, but I want to do this every week. So I'm going to add it now as a recurring task and say, starting from today, every week, I want the lobby to be deep cleaned on Thursdays and Fridays. And now Flexkeeping will create a series of recurring tasks. So again, you only have to do this once. And that's it, it's in. So again, just think about how much sort of time and effort and how precise this communication is. And similarly with maintenance, here's my maintenance dashboard. Again, I can add a repair from my desktop and say, hey, the light bulb is again not working in the lobby. And I have logged this. And also, same as with task, I can really take advantage of this maintenance functionality to manage preventive maintenance and to schedule these weekly, monthly inspections in advance, making sure that you are in line with the health and safety requirements or any other sort of policies and procedures that you need to follow. Again, a good example is I can say that I need to do a fire safety inspection, and again, I'm going to use my lobby as the space, and I want to do this every month. So I'm going to say, starting from today, I need to do this once a month, I don't know, on the 2nd of the month. And now I've created, again, a series of maintenance requests. So how else can we support the team members in terms of completing these sometimes quite complex tasks, such as let's say, the fire safety inspection? So there's two things we do. One, you can create checklists for your team members, okay? And you can have as many checklists you want. And we have this wonderful checklist dashboard that will then allow you to track the number of completed checklists, what's the success rate of these checklists, and even track the most common failed responses so you can understand some patterns and be able to proactively address those issues. And probably one of my favorite functionalities in Flexkeeping is what we call SOPs. So think about Flexkeeping as a digital, empty digital library where you can upload any type of document you want, photos, videos, PDFs, you name it. You'll be able to categorize them, as you can see on my screen, and your team members will be able to access these documents and files via the Flexkeeping app. So, an operational manual for an AC unit, a quick video how to unblock the toilet, an image of how the breakfast buffet should be set up. All of this can be stored in Flexkeeping. Particularly great when you have new team members who might need a little bit more frequent reminders of what your standards are. So this is a really good example how you're setting your team members up for success, because you're telling them what they need to do, how they need to do it, when they need to do it, where they need to do it. So they are really set up for success. And then in return, you can ask for quality, consistency, and all the other good stuff. Okay, but let me now switch to the mobile app. Okay, here we go. So I'm now logged in as a maintenance team member. Oh, sorry, as a housekeeping team member. But every team member in the building should have access to Flexkeeping. And what they will be able to do and see, it sort of depends on you. We can customize that for you, whichever they want to. And as you can see, there's quite a few things I will be able to do. Look at the rooms I need to clean, receive those additional tasks which I mentioned, log maintenance issues, access checklists, SOPs, and so on. Let's just have a quick look at my rooms, and all my rooms on the first floor. I can see that there's 5 departures and 2 stayovers, and here they are. Okay, so we use a lot of colors and symbols sort of to communicate what's happening in these units and what needs to be done. So red rooms are dirty, the others have been cleaned, and we can differentiate whether it was a light clean, whether it's a departure clean, and whether it's a departure clean that has been inspected as well. So you can really sort of understand what's happening in your units. And again, another great feature, we also help your team members prioritize the workload. So I just rearranged the order of the rooms based on priority. And what's behind this sort of priority algorithm, that can be customized. But I know that I'm going to start cleaning 108 because it's a departure. The guest who stayed in this room has checked out and somebody's checking in. So it makes sense to start cleaning 108. And I'm going to press start cleaning. And all I need to do when I finish cleaning is mark it as cleaned. And at that point, we update Flexkeeping and RMS as well. But there's a bunch of other things your team members will be able to do if you want them to. So I mentioned your room SOPs. So this is where you're going to be able to access those digital files, standards, etc. Here's that task that I mentioned. Actually, let's just have a look what task I've got. Well, I need to put an extra pillow into 108, and I'll be able to confirm back to you that I've done this. So you get a complete audit of everything that's happening. If I come across another maintenance issue, I can press plus. Look how easy this is. Select what that maintenance issue is. Let's say it's a light bulb. Press confirm, because I'm not too technical and I don't want to go into a long sort of description of what's happening exactly with that light bulb and where it is. I can simply take a photo and a video, and that's it. So again, everything is about 2 clicks. So you really don't need to be particularly technically savvy to be able to use Flexkeeping. And as I said, we use a lot of symbols as well. So there's very little reading you need to do.
Yes, just a quick question, if you don't mind there. Looking at that page there as well, I'm imagining that all of the requirements or requests that are attached to a reservation inside RMS are also going to populate through to the housekeeping team for service delivery as well. So it's going to expedite the entire process. Oh, absolutely. And we also have access to the notes. So every sort of note or reservation notes that you make will be able to see that in Flexkeeping. And any additional requests that might the guest checking into 108 will have automatically access to that. Excellent. And one other question as well. I'm imagining having SOPs built into that particular cleaning task is ultimately going to benefit all of people that are looking to use Flexkeeping by reducing the actual amount of training time that's required to bring team members up to speed. Is that fair to say as well?
Oh, absolutely. One of the these SOPs are great. First of all, not only just that you can sort of demonstrate your compliance and making sure that your team are sort of executing their jobs in a safe way, but also for new starters specifically important because they will have a place to go and find the information as opposed to, again, running down the corridor trying to find a supervisor to ask them a series of questions or not delivering the standards that you want to.
Absolutely. And it's very visual. So when they're looking at an SOP, they see an achievable goal. And there's nothing better than being able to actually look at something like this and say, I can match that.
I'm imagining as well, lots of our clients are struggling with resourcing, particularly in housekeeping and operational teams as well. And they may potentially have to look at bringing on board team members who don't have a great deal of historical experience in that area. So it'll really help them kind of refine that training process early on.
Absolutely.
Exactly, and thanks for pointing that out. And there's, especially if you combine these SOPs with, let's say, digital checklists, okay, where now you can have a bigger task like cleaning a room. You can sort of go quite granular and guide the team member through of all the things they need to do as part of that sort of cleaning process. So of course, as a default, we would set Flexkeeping up as everything is like no, and they will be able to confirm that yes, they clean the shower, yes, they clean the towels, iron the mirrors, and then at the beginning we can even ask them not just to confirm that they clean the shower, but also attach a photo or a video of that. And then so you can have later on, you can all of this goes to a database, and you can really sort of review progress they made and the quality of work they are delivering. Okay. Okay, and just quickly, we have like 3 functionalities where you can track what your consumption is in terms of how much dirty linen you're generating, how many amenities items you're using, and you can put on this list anything you want to, stuff like shampoo, soap, whatever that is. So you can generate a report and understand the cost that's associated with turning your units over and sort of track your inventory to a certain extent. But again, ultimately, what you will do what team members will do once the unit has been cleaned is mark it as cleaned. Okay, and now move on and start cleaning the next room. As you can see, we sort of, as we progress, we are changing the color of these units. So I'm just going to quickly log out, and I'm going to show you one more thing, just a little bit more about maintenance. Okay, so I'm logging in with as someone who's got access to maintenance. And actually, I'm logging in as a manager. So if I go into my maintenance tab, this is what the maintenance team members would see, just a list of jobs. Okay. And now there's several ways how we can set up in terms of who is receiving these notifications. Do all these jobs go to the one team member, or they go to a supervisor who can assign specific jobs to specific team members? But here's both, everything that we log today here. So the light bulb in the lobby is here, the fire safety inspection in the lobby that we need to do, and the light bulb in 108 that we need to do. So if I now open the light bulb in 108, of course, I'm going to be able to see the message, and be able to see the photo, and of course, I'll be able to confirm that this has been done. And if I want to, I can, and made a huge mess, I can even call somebody back. And also, I'll be able to troll between all the tasks that are scheduled for today, or stuff that I need to do next week, or what I got scheduled for in a week's time. So you get a really good understanding sort of what the workload is, not just for today, but what is that you plan for the next couple of days or weeks. Just quickly going in and just showing you how you can inspect the rooms. So I've just filtered all the units ready for inspection, and here they are. So every time there's a change in terms of cleanliness, somebody gets a notification. So we'll know when these units are ready to be inspected, including 108. So you can either complete a checklist, or you can use this cleaning flow functionality to capture if something hasn't been done properly. And I actually love this because it sort of works like maintenance. You select what the cleaning issue is. Let's say it's a dirty shower. And as always, you can add a photo or video just to show you that I'm not making this up. And you press confirm. And what Flexkeeping will do now, will automatically create and send the task to the team member who cleaned this room, telling them they need to come back and sort out the shower. So again, a great example how these mini automations just save a bunch of time. So as opposed to you now having to find that team member, bring them back, ask them to clean the shower, it's done with a couple of clicks. Okay, needless to say that on the back of this, you get a bunch of analytics where you will be able to track what are the most common mistakes, who is making them, in which unit, in which time period. So you can proactively start resolving and supporting your team members, but making sure that they have access to the right SOP, so they have a clear understanding how the shower should be cleaned. Or you can implement a couple of checklists for a couple of weeks just to make sure that when they clean the shower, they take a photo just to reassure you it has been done. So several ways how you can sort of generate performance out of your team. But again, ultimately what we'll do, that you either, now I'm going to mark this room as dirty and put it back into dirty, or you can mark it as inspected if there's no cleaning issues. And every time you change the status, we of course update rest of Flexkeeping and RMS as well. And there's a bunch of other things you'll be able to do, as already mentioned, everything from uploading SOPs, tracking consumptions, assigning rooms from your mobile phone. So everything that you need to do, let's say the beginning of the day, you will be able to do that from your phone. So you don't have to be stuck behind the office, behind an office desk. You can be in your property, engaging your guests, engaging your team, while having access to all the information you need to run that shift or to run that operation that particular day.
And I think that's incredibly important for operators these days, is not to be tied to the reception counter and to have the flexibility to be able to move around the property, engage at different aspects of the property. And then also in many cases as well, they have limited services and limited operating hours. So the ability to be able to take the work with them if they need to and perform those changes and updates on the fly.
Even supporting the staff while you're out, if the supervisor is out and about and one staff member has fallen behind because of various issues and somebody's ahead, they can reassign the load as they're going along. So it just makes sure that you're supporting the staff all the way through.
We've got a question that's come through from Fiona, if we wouldn't mind dropping into that. So Fiona's asked, how are things like minibar consumption amenities reported through RMS or through Flexkeeping?
So I guess minibar, I guess both, because what we actually do is, and I guess I'm gonna show you how that works. Let me just jump into one of the rooms. So all a team member needs to do is now capture the consumption. Okay, so I'm gonna select that, I don't know, a bottle of water has been consumed, a bottle of beer, and well, let's say a bottle of vodka. Okay, I'm gonna press confirm. And what we've done now, we've now posted a charge of £11, dollars, whatever that might be, onto the guest folio in RMS. So I guess in that sense, you will be able to track that in RMS, but also in Flexkeeping as well. And let me show you how and where. So let me just find the right. So there's two reports. I can, again, select a particular time period. And let's just look at today. Pull the data, and I'll be able to track the consumption per unit and even the total value of the items I've sold. So what happened in 102, 103, 104, and of course I can use sort of filters, floors, and so on. And the other is the usage, where I have a sum of all the items that have been sold. And this is particularly great when you have a specific team member who needs to restock now these fridges. They'll get live sort of updates of what's missing, so they can really sort of fill up their trolley with the right amount of items and start sort of delivering and filling up the minibus. And amenities, very similar. I'll be able to, again, pull the data and see what these amenities that have been used in each room, and you can add monetary value to them if you wish. And as well, you'll be able to do a bit of an inventory and just understand what item, so the sum of items that you've used or replaced that particular day. And again, you can go back, you can go as far back as you want to, or select any sort of date period that you want to. I hope that answered the question. Guys, there's really a bunch of analytics there. There's more than I really have time to show you. What's important to remember that everything that you do in Flexkeeping, there's a trace for it. There's a date stamp for it. So if you want to know right now who cleaned room 106 6 months ago and whether there's some pending maintenance issues or additional tasks that were supposed to be completed, you'll be able to know that. Okay. Great overview of repairs as well. And again, I'm going to select a specific time period. I'm going to pull the data. And this is a fairly sort of busy report, but let me just zoom in a little bit just so you can see it a little bit better. So here you'll be able to track in this specific period what maintenance issues you've resolved. So we fixed the Wi-Fi 21 times, TV 21, light bulb 21, AC 15 times, bed 14 times, and so on. So you can track what you're spending time on. You can also look at your team members and look specifically which team member has completed which job. And of course, you can track in which rooms you've completed these jobs. So especially if you're managing a unit for, let's say, an owner, and you now want to report back exactly what happened in these units, I can, let's say, select unit 106, and I'll be able to see that, well, we fixed the AC unit once and changed 2 light bulbs. Okay, and also again, you can recognize patterns where you can see, okay, now we fixed that AC unit in 106 in the last month 3 times. Surely there's a better way or a more efficient and smarter way to deal with a maintenance issue. And maybe it is time now to invest into new AC units. So it's great in terms of managing up. And as opposed to have anecdotal evidence of all the things that you've been working on, you have exact data. And this data allows you to make a series of good business decisions. Okay, and I think for an operator that's hugely important, that is continuity of great decisions.
Thank you. We've got another question from Gary and Stephen, which I think we've covered off before, but we'll just quickly go over that again. Can you create a comprehensive room inventory in Flexkeeping for each room, including photos, etc., such as what is hanging on the wall, what bedside tables there are, what furniture is on the veranda, etc.?
So there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can, of course, have a room-specific SOP uploaded into Flexkeeping, so that everybody will know exactly what the inventory is. Or our checklists are incredibly versatile. So you would be able to create a checklist, okay, that will list all the items and the number of items you need to have in that unit. And when you do your sort of monthly or weekly inspections, you'll be able to mark whether you still have all these items. And again, these checklists are smart in a way that when you mark something as not okay, there can be a reaction to that. So if you mark down that, let's say you have no cups, that checklist can automatically trigger a task that will say, hey, more cups needed in 106. Or if you're using a maintenance checklist and you're going around and doing a maintenance inspection, you, let's say, mark down that the wall is damaged, that can also trigger immediately a maintenance request as well. So in that sense, you'll be able to track inventory, and also you'll be able to track consumption of these items.
Thank you.
So I've sort of shown you maintenance and also sort of the reporting, and you've got the same report for tasks, what tasks have been completed, who's completing them, when, same for cleaning floors. All of this information is available. And I guess just lastly, I'm going to show you the cleaning time dashboard, which is great again to managing the team. So I already explained to you that we can track what's the expected time of cleaning certain units, and they can be a variation based on unit type, whether they're big or small, and clean type, whether it's a departure clean or a stayover clean or some sort of a other type of clean. So what I can be able to do is I can pull the data, and I'll be able to track exactly how many stayover cleans, how many empty unit inspections I've done, and how many departure cleans I've done. And I can also track what was the expected time and what was the actual time spent. And I can break this down per user, and I can see exactly who worked, how many days, cleaned how many rooms, and how. So again, if you have the external housekeeping team in place, you can literally just export this report, add a monitor value next to the units, and you know exactly how much you should be invoiced for and what the cost is what the costs are in relation to cleaning your units. So all this data is available to you, and all of this reporting can be exported, and all of this data can be then manipulated further. And I guess these are the key functionalities. There's much more to it. There's much more of these mini automations, and we'll be more than happy sort of to drill down into these functionalities. All you need to do is reach out to us, and we'll set up an individual a demo. We understand that every property operates slightly differently, and the great news is that Flexkeeping is really flexible in terms of what we can customize and how, so we can make sure that we are a right fit for your specific type of operation. And there you go, guys. Enough of me.
Very good. Thank you so much, Zoltan. That was great. Carol, is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Well, look, if there's any more questions, we can certainly answer those now. I think that the really big things are just the key elements that we're bringing to the table. Firstly, we're going to take you completely paperless. And I can't stress that one enough. Everyone should be concerned about the environment at this stage and going out to their client base and saying, we are a paperless hotel. You know, just trying to look after that environmental side. That is a huge issue. The second issue, of course, is staff retention and giving them something that, as we said at the start, empowers them to do their job really well. And I think that Flexkeeping in their pocket makes them feel like they are part of something much bigger. So that is a huge element as well. Of course, we can't overstate the amount of money we will save you overall, and how we're going to raise your standards and raise those guest expectations. One of the things that we were talking about early on was tasks, and the fact that we can pop a task straight onto Flexkeeping because a guest has just run guest services asking for pool towels or something to that effect. The fact that those tasks are monitored, if it doesn't get picked up in a certain period of time, it's escalated. So no guest request is ever going to go missed. So I think that those kinds of efficiencies that we're going to bring to the table are just going to make you wonder how you got by without it.
Absolutely. And I think what Flexkeeping does is it takes some fantastic housekeeping products that we have and maintenance products that we have inherently inside RMS, and it turns up the volume and gives people a level of functionality and sophistication that growing businesses and evolving businesses need to help manage this at a granular level inside their room. So it's really exciting to see all of the fantastic things that you do. What I'd like to do is just cover off a few of the final questions as you suggested, Carol.
Sure.
And I'll just got one here from Nick Stanton. Can you check a guest out in RMS before the minibars have been checked through Flexkeeping?
Well, the answer to that would be yes, because you can check the guest out in RMS. What you're going to do is, as soon as the housekeeping staff have accessed that room, as soon as they access that room, they can then trigger that minibar. Obviously, then from an administration point of view, if the guest has already moved out of the room, you're actually going to see when you're posting that there's no post to room trigger pops up. So you'll be able to actually then come back to front desk and have them build that out to room.
Perfect, thank you. We've also got a question here from Beck. Can you have multiple locations? So within your Flexkeeping instance, can you have it? And it interacts with RMS Enterprise, and I'm sure you work with many multi-property businesses and organisations and groups out there as well.
Zoltan's actually showing you right now.
There you go. I can switch between properties if I wish, so from Plaza to Crown Hotel and Spa. And I guess another way is if you're managing multiple buildings from one RMS account, multiple, let's say you're an apartment operator, you have one RMS account for multiple buildings, you'll be able to put your buildings into sectors. In my case, these are floors, but you can have building A, building B, building C. So you will be able to sort of cluster these apartments or units in a way that sort of makes operationally sense. And you'll be able to sort of track the individual performances and so on.
Great. So is it fair to say for like a hotel motel operation that would be floor-based clusters, whereas if you're talking for a holiday letting style property, it might be region-based clusters?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's amazing. And it looks like your enterprise capabilities mirror ours. It's simply moving between or filtering information within that instance of there to give you a different view of different properties at different times.
Exactly.
Excellent. All right. There's a question from Melanie here. When the minibar is posted into RMS, is it able to take the payment?
That's an RMS question, as a matter of fact.
It certainly is, yeah. So the question would be is you would post the charge back to the RMS folio, and then you would use RMS to take the payment. And then something like RMS Pay or some other connected payment gateway or agreed payment arrangement with the customer to be able to process the receipt through RMS. We certainly do have some enhancements coming around RMS Pay, our new payment gateway, that will automate those payments in the future as well. So with some exciting collaboration between Flexkeeping and interacting with our new payment product as well, and how they could bring further efficiencies. Okay, and then from Gary and Stephen, is there clear and dynamic operational messaging provided in the Flexkeeping RMS function? For example, if reception wants to know right now if room 108 is ready, can they message and have it pop up on their housekeeper supervisor device?
Well, they would have access to Flexkeeping. So you've got to imagine that in an operational sense, the front desk staff, guest services staff, they will have one tab open, which will be RMS. They'll have another tab open that will be Flexkeeping. And Zoltan, I don't know whether we showed them earlier. On the app, as soon as the housekeeper clicks that they've started cleaning in the app, one of the things that the guest services staff will be able to see is that cleaning is in progress in that room at that moment. So if you've got a guest standing in front of you and you're cleaning, you've got a cleaning staff member in 101 and somebody's checking in right now and they're assigned 101, it will actually come up on the screen and tell us that cleaning is in progress.
So first of all, you will never have to ask anyone whether the unit has been cleaned or not, because you will have that information available. Either you're looking at this screen and you're going to see, let's say, 108, green color means it has been inspected, ready for check-in, or you look at RMS where you're going to see exactly the same status. So Flexkeeping updates RMS as soon as this change happens. You'll never have to ask anyone. You will have all this information available. And in terms of sort of tracking which unit is being cleaned right now, as Carol just said, you will be able to see, and I'm trying to show an example, that, for example, under unit 100, it will say cleaning in progress. You will be able to track which unit is being cleaned right now. Also, remember that your team members have access to these reservation details, so they will know which room has checked out, into which room is somebody checking in, so they will naturally prioritize which rooms to clean. And on top, here we got something we called urgent tasks. So if you absolutely need a room cleaned urgently out of sequence, all you would do is select which room that is, press save, and now the relevant team member's phone will beep, flash, vibrate really loudly, and they will actually have to confirm and say, okay, I understand that I need to clean 104 next. Okay, fine. So there's several ways how you can manage that, but no more asking somebody whether something has been cleaned. You'll be able to see that yourself.
And one of the other things that I should mention is, this is just a little bit that I know about RMS, one of the things that we can then help you automate even more is as soon as Flexkeeping has marked the room as clean vacant, and we've told RMS that it's clean and vacant, the triggered correspondence that RMS can do can actually trigger and send a message to the guest to say your room's now ready.
We have a lot of customers that are using our one-way SMS module to achieve that very feature. So there's a specific rule inside the triggered correspondence builder where you can set when a cleaning task is set to clean, notify the customer by sending them an SMS or an email. So that's a really great way of staying in constant contact with your customer and also spreading your check-ins out over a period of time, because there's nothing worse than if you have 30 people turning up on the same day and you say, come back at 2, come back at 2, come back at 2, and then everybody comes back at 2 and you've got a line out the door to check people in. So certainly lots of ways that you can manage that.
I am all for getting rid of the 2 o'clock check-in time.
Absolutely.
Let's just get rid of that altogether.
Just organic check-in when the rooms are available.
That is a horrible hurdle.
That's it. That's it. So we've got a fantastic question from Fiona as well, which says, so what is the best way to get a quote and to request a demo is it from the Flexkeeping website or to reach you directly? So what we might do at the end of the session is actually bring up that slide with your contact information. And certainly, obviously, if you log on to the Flexkeeping website, you'll be able to connect that way as well. And we'll also share a copy of this recording after the session with contact information for both Carol, who's based in APAC, and Zoltan, who's based in EMEA. Okay, a couple more quick questions and then we'll wrap up. So when the room, this is from Melanie, when the room is clean and the pre-check-in is done, can RMS trigger the check-in? So we've just covered that off, I believe, in talking about triggering correspondence to the customer to let them know that the room's available for check-in. We've got another message from Catherine. Can the messages be one to many housekeepers? So for instance, can I send, I guess, a group broadcast to all of my housekeepers?
Yes. So in
yes, you can. Let me show you how.
Sorry.
So we got something called, there's several ways you can do this. It really depends what sort of reaction you want. So if it's a specific task, then you can create group tasks. I can go into assignments, create a task. I'm going to add a task, and now I can select a specific team member I want to do this task, or I can select a particular user group that I want to do this task. Let's say all the housekeeping managers. Okay, and I can also now select whether this is a group assignment or individual assignment. Does that mean that one of these out of these housekeeping managers needs to do it, or all of them need to do it? Okay. Now, if it's a less formal communication, we also have something we call the notice board, where you will be able, again, you can do this, all of this I'm showing you, you can do this from your phone as well. You go to a notice board, you add a new note, you select a specific user group, let's say all the housekeepers, and you write a message, I don't know, happy birthday, Zoltan. And now that has been sent, and you'll even be able to track who has opened and read this message. And my phone is just vibrating and beeping now, telling me that I've got a notification. So there you go. So there's several ways how you can do this group communication.
One of the things that I've actually seen in a couple of clients is that they're using the notice board to do a morning debrief shout out. So it's sending it to every team member just to say, hey, it's going to be a great day today. This is what's happening, you know. So just broadly talking about what's going on in the property. Again, sort of digitally wrapping your arms around all of your staff.
It's amazing.
And exactly. But if you want to get a little bit more technical in terms of like doing a proper handover with some how many checkouts and check-ins once, you get the information live anyway. But again, our checklists are so versatile that we can easily convert these checklists into a really sort of detailed handover document.
Fantastic.
Duty managers.
Very good. Well, that's the end of the questions that have been asked. So thank you everybody for joining us today. Thank you, Carol, and thank you, Zoltan. As I said, we're going to a pleasure. We're going to share a copy of the recording with everyone who's registered for the event. We'll also make a link available on the website. And lastly, Zoltan, if you wouldn't mind bringing up the slide with the contact details for Carol and yourself. If anyone would like any more information, you can reach out to Carol. Also to Zoltan as well, or connect via the Flexkeeping website. So any final words there, Zoltan?
Nothing. If you wish, and I'm not sure if I got access to it, whether we can just put in a message with our right now with our contact details as well.
Certainly, we'll be able to do something in post-production, no problem.
Yes, but then guys, thank you very much for your time. We look forward to meeting you all individually and telling you a little bit more about our great sort of partnership with RMS and how we can enhance your operation. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this session.
Thank you so much, everyone. It was lovely to answer all of the questions and present this to you.
Very good. Thank you, everybody.